Welcome to the Misty Rambles, your mystical getaway into the realm of spirituality, crystals, the paranormal, and intriguing conspiracy theories. We are your hosts, Nicole and Corey, guiding you through the veils of the unknown, where we embark on a journey of discovery and wonder.
Join us as we delve into the hidden depths of ancient wisdom, exploring the power of crystals, unlocking the secrets of the universe, and unraveling the phenomena that surrounds us. From the whispers of the spirits to the mind-bending mysteries that challenge conventional beliefs, we dive headfirst into the uncharted territories of the metaphysical.
Each episode will gather around the digital campfire, sharing captivating stories and thought-provoking discussions that will leave you questioning reality itself. Whether you're a seasoned truth seeker or a curious skeptic, the Misty Rambles is your haven for expanding your consciousness and embracing the realms beyond our everyday existence.
So grab your favourite crystal, light a soothing incense, and open your mind to the extraordinary. It's time to embark on an adventure like no other. Welcome to
the Misty Rambles. Welcome to the Misty Rambles with Nicole and Corey. Today we are about to explore the world of dreams, how they work, their meanings, and the impact of how they have on our lives. This is something we can all say we've experienced at least once in our lives. However, I am aware some people struggle to dream. So for those of you that don't dream, I suppose, this can be linked to a variety of causes, such as stress, too much caffeine, allowing ourselves to go or not to go as deep as REM sleep. And they also say spiritually that it means that you're not spiritually connected due to negative energy around you, which is quite interesting.
I actually didn't know that.
So what do you make of dreams, in your opinion?
I dream a lot.
Okay.
I would say nearly every 2-3 nights I'd have a dream. And it's a dream that I always remember when I wake up.
So you've a really good capacity of would you remember it clear as day? Or
nearly every detail to a dream I would remember.
Oh my god.
Which I think is so strange.
That's
because
rare.
I know a load of people, when I say to them and they're like, oh, you can't remember every dream. And I'm like, no, if I have a dream I will remember that. To the T, I remember to the exact time that was on the clock in the alarm when I woke up in the dream. I've been able to do it since I was probably in 5th year. I looked into lucid dreaming at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I got the whole thing of being able to remember everything.
So you grasped it, because I actually remember talking to somebody before who was able to control their dreams. They were able to be in a dream, and it was someone came into their dream and they were go away, and then all of a sudden they disappeared. And he was oh my god, I can make anything happen here. So he was able to play around with the dreams, but they do say that's actually really dangerous.
Yeah.
You can get stuck in the world of dreaming where you just won't wake up.
I don't want to do that. I don't want it to go that far.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, I think that's the most terrifying part of it.
Yeah, so you remember your dreams really well. For me personally, when it comes to dreaming, I suppose I would have maybe 2 to 3 dreams a week.
Yeah.
Now that's pushing it. Even there would be a week there where I might only have 1 dream.
Yeah.
I rarely remember it. I'll wake up. See, what happens to me is sometimes I wake up before my dream ends. I go back to sleep because I'm up. I could wake up at maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I might be up until 7, and then I'm I'm not going to remember the dream. And it really annoys me because I always wake up, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where it's God, I really enjoyed that dream, and you're God, I really wanted to know that. Or for people who are, I suppose, in the spiritual side of things, to nearly go into it more and find out what that really means, the subliminal meaning, which we are going to get into a little bit. But yeah, I never really remember my dreams.
Some of my dreams can be just mad, really crazy funny dreams, and I'm just I'd be dreaming and be how, I'd wake up and be how was I even thinking about that? But then there's always the one where it's it's a really good dream, and then I wake up and I'm absolutely raging because
you enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, but I didn't get to I was on a bus somewhere and I don't know where that bus was going, and I didn't get to that part of the dream, and I'm where's that bus going? Where was it going? I really want to know where I was going.
Is it going to bring me to my life's purpose? Or
am I going to Lapland or am I going to Tala? Where am I going?
Well, it says the definition of dreams is a series of thoughts, images, or emotions occurring during sleep, and especially during REM sleep. Yeah. So you were talking to me earlier about the different stages of sleep.
Yeah. So when you're in your sleep, you have 5 different stages.
Okay.
So you have stage 1, which is your light sleep, which is it accounts to 4 to 5% of your total sleep.
Right.
Which I actually thought that would have been a lot more.
So did I.
Because I can be a really light sleeper at times. I can fall asleep and the slightest movement in the house, I'll be awoke, and I'll be what was that?
That's me. That's certainly me, and I'd say that's why I don't really dream that much.
It could be.
Yeah.
So light sleep is slow eye movement and reduced muscle activity.
Okay.
Stage 2 is eye movement stops and brain waves become slower, with occasional bursts of rapid waves called sleep spindles. This stage forms 45 to 55% of your total sleep. So that's kind of like your mid part. Stage 3, extremely slow brain waves called delta waves begin to appear, intercepted with smaller, faster waves. This accounts for 4 to 6% of your total sleep. So I thought that was a really tiny amount as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stage 4, the brain perceives delta waves almost exclusively. It is difficult to wake someone during stages 3 and 4, which together are called deep sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Deep sleep. There is no eye movement or muscle activity. People awakened in deep sleep do not adjust immediately and often feel disorientated for several minutes after waking up. This forms 12 to 15% of your total sleep.
I think we know a few people who are like that.
You wake them up and there's just they're dead to the world.
Nothing wakes them. It's like you could shake them and they're completely gone. Yeah. And you're kind of thinking, are they alive? They're clearly breathing. And it's like, what is going on?
It's so confusing.
I've never had a dream or a dream, should I say, sleep in my life that I've been that deep.
I don't think I have either, because I know Friday morning I have to get up for college and I know my alarm is set for 6 o'clock. And I know the minute that alarm goes off, I'm already clicking it off. I'm that awake, ready to go. So then we have stage 5. And stage 5 is your REM stage, which you were mentioning earlier.
Okay.
Which means rapid eye movement. So breathing becomes more rapid, irregular and shallow. Eyes jerk rapidly in various directions and limb muscles become temporarily paralysed. Heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, and males develop penile erections. Yeah, we had a little giggle there. We're definitely not in 5th class here, Nicole.
I was expecting that. Corey?
Sorry. When people awaken during REM sleep, they often describe bizarre, illogical tales. These are dreams. This stage accounts for 20 to 25% of your total sleep. So your dream stage is only a very small amount of time that you're actually asleep for.
I was seeing that our dreams can only last as long as 20 minutes. It's no longer than 20 minutes. And have you ever had a dream where you just can't get out of it?
Oh yeah, it feels like it goes on and on.
That's frightening.
Yeah.
Especially I suppose more when I was a kid, I had such a wild imagination, as we all did. I'm not saying we don't now, but you know the way it kind of just gets a little bit more, reality check in, hello. But for me, I was so very much stuck with someone. It could be an example of someone chasing me. Yeah. And I'm like, how do I... you're running and you're I'm not fit enough to run this far or run this long, but you can't get out of the dream. Yeah. And you wake up and you're actually bucketing in sweat. And it makes so much sense because clearly your body is... I'm surprised one of the things you said was actually the paralysing of the limbs. I'm like, whoa, that's a bit intense. Yeah. Didn't realise that our body...
I didn't know that either. And then when I was researching this and I read that part, it nearly frightened me because you don't really know what's going on because you're asleep. Exactly. So you're kind of what is actually happening? How is our brain doing all this?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. There's so many different things with dreaming. It's... Yeah. We're going to get into that now. One of the things here I have is, are dreams connected to the multiverse? So off top of your head, Corey, right? What do you think? Do you think it's a potential that we are connected to the multiverse? We are literally a fraction...
I think so.
Of what's out there.
Yeah. Because there has to be some sort of connection. I don't think I've had dreams that deja vu. I'll tell you about this dream later on in the podcast, but I've had a dream where I dreamt it probably a week before and everything to the T was the exact same. And when I had this dream, we didn't even know we were doing what we were going to do. And that's what freaked me out the most when I was there. And I was I remember...
This happening.
Yeah, I remember sitting there and I was I remember doing this. And I was trying to figure out, I was where did I do this? Because we went to a restaurant and I was I remember ordering this exact thing. And I was
it was all clicking together.
And it confused me so much. And I just remember sitting there and I was how, what's going on? And then I was oh my God, I dreamt this. So there is a connection.
I think for me it was when the latest Doctor Strange film came out. And they kind of delved into the reality and multiverse and how it was kind of interlinking with dreams. Yeah. And it kind of gave me this whole, like, whoa, it was like a spiritual awakening, but with dreams, where I was like, this is actually highly likely to be a real thing. Like, and as we have mentioned many times already, that sometimes films are trying to really tell us, like
subliminal messaging.
There is something more to this, like, and maybe there is research going on, I don't know, but there seems to be an awful lot of people out there, like professionals and professors, that tend to be analysing dreams and how they work in the mind and how they could be connected to something else. But what I found here was, so in rare cases it is believed that dreams might be a form of a parallel universe, so life is more than a physical reality. So then I found actual people's opinions. So it's, quote, "It could be very possible. We don't know if multiverse or other parallel universes exist, but I do have a positive say in this, and I do believe that in our dreams we see an image and a glimpse of another universe, another dimension. We'll never know how the universe works, but it is possible that in your dreams you'll see yourself in another different life, another way. Also, sometimes a person can feel something that hits them, or you see something that's not in front of them. What if those feelings and images are coming from another universe? We may never know. Are all these theories of ourselves, I'm mistaken here. All those are theories of ourselves. I'm not saying that this is a theory, or that it's false, but we don't know if this is true for now." End quote.
That's so interesting.
So it's very interesting to see, like, people are actually trying to analyse it. Like, there's another person here that kind of went into the same thing, and they started talking about, like, our frequency and the frequency that's out there, and how they could be connecting together and forming the reality of these dreams. And I was like, what?
I think that's, like, such a cool way. Like, that'd be such a fun thing to research, because when I was researching, people were saying that there's no actual scientific reason as to why we dream. Like, as to what is causing these dreams. But it'd be so interesting to actually know. Like, I do know that, say if you go home tonight and you're lying in bed and you're thinking about, say, dogs or something like this, that you're meant to have a dream of dogs. Like, if you think about it before you sleep, that's meant to, like, subliminally put it into your mind.
Yeah, it triggers you, basically. That happens to me all the time, where I could be thinking about the shop, for example, or I could be thinking about the podcast even, and I'll have a dream about that, or I'll have a dream about the topic we're researching, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is so bizarre. But it's our mind is, like, elsewhere. It's like, just goes to show, like, the power of our subconscious and how it really does absorb everything, which kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week with manifestation. And like, it's like the frequencies we give out is what we receive back. So maybe there is a link with this in manifestation, where it's like that frequency that we're giving out when we sleep could be linking back to another part of ourselves in a different world.
Going back to what you said about you like, if you were thinking of a topic, you dream about that. Imagine having a dream about dreams. Like, how mad that dream like, would be.
That's Inception.
It'd be such a
But that's Inception. Inception is like the biggest mind fuck going. Like, it's literally like someone going, they're asleep and they wake up in a different world, and it's like boom, 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 boom. And like, you think that was covered, what, 2009 maybe? Yeah. Something like that, maybe a little bit later, but not much later.
No.
And it goes into how reality can overshift us with dreams. And I was like, as everyone knows, how incredible the film is, but how mentally confusing it is, because you're kind of like, this could happen, but then it's also like, how do we know if we're actually here, or if this is a dream?
You're like, are we dreaming right now?
And that's, well, who knows? Like, I just hate Corey.
No, like, I'm awake.
But yeah, like, it's just a bizarre thing. Like, I just don't even know where to begin. Like,
so, I have dreams that I've had before, right?
Okay.
I have a couple that I kind of remember. Have you ever had a dream where you're lying in bed one minute and the next minute you feel like you're falling?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not the only person that's had this. I've had this dream so many times, like more than I have fingers I can count how many times I've had this dream. And it's so bizarre. It really feels like I'm falling, and I'm like, no, I'm in bed. How is this happening?
What's even weirder is, I think, that the fact that, like, we're feeling like we're falling, but sometimes we don't even have an image in our head of what it is that we're falling off.
Yeah.
It's like we're just falling, and then we wake up and we're like, oh my god, it's like we just caught ourselves. But I was actually reading into this, so it's a really common occurrence for people to experience falling in a dream or in some sort of level or stage of sleep. There's multiple reasons, though. One of the things that my mum used to tell me when I was a little girl was that when your body is like falling, it's your soul leaving its body. And if you
don't tell me that, like seriously. Like, so you're telling me I'm dead to this?
No, well, look, this is one theory, okay? So she was like, if you go too far out of your body, you'll not be able to return. So that kind of reminds me of astral projection, because you can lose yourself during that, and that's, I suppose, another thing that kind of touches base with the likes of dreaming, because it's, you're leaving your body and you're exploring elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it's trying to get back to your body is the question or the problem. So the other thing then is that your angels are bringing you back down. So it's like you're floating off. You feel great now.
Yeah, I'm like, this is grand.
So you're floating out of your body, but then your angels are like, no, it's not your time. So you're meant to go back to your body. And then the other thing.
It'd be nice if they let me down a little bit softly though. Like. So it's just like, no, it's not your time. Boom.
Boom. Bye.
Then I wake up like, ah!
The other thing with dreaming as well as when you're falling is I suppose it's just like you're basically going into another dimension essentially, and you're experiencing that kind of form of leaving your body, but it could very well be our souls leaving our bodies and we're like, that's it,
that's me gone.
It's simply our bodies just like shifting into a different part of the world.
Because I remember like some of them I'd be like fast asleep and the next minute I just like jump out of bed, like I jump in the bed and I'm like, what just happened?
I actually had the thing here, it's behind the dream meanings of doing it.
Okay.
And it says here that there's a study on fallen dreams. So it says that fallen dreams are a sign that something in your life isn't going well, okay? So it might suggest that you need to rethink a choice, for instance, or consider a new direction in some area of your life. So it says dreaming of falling is very common. It is a symbol of fear in real life, perhaps of failing at your work or in your love life, says Russell Grant. But he adds that falling often expresses a need to let yourself go more and enjoy life more.
So I'm not dead.
It's not.
That's okay.
It's just got a bit deep, but that's just one of the, I suppose, meanings behind the fallen dream. But then I kind of like the whole idea of it being like your angels, but they're bringing you back to your body. It's like,
but then that's also terrifying. Like the thought of that one.
You'll never want to sleep again.
No, you will not sleep tonight.
Oh my god.
Or if I have a dream about falling tonight.
So you've had a dream about falling, but what was your other dreams that you were going to tell me about?
So I have had dreams where I've seen people in my life.
Okay.
And like, I know some people say that like you can't make out who people are in your dreams.
Oh yeah, it's like you'll never see their faces actually.
I have. That's the weird, like I've had a dream about you one time. Do you remember I was telling you this?
You dream like this, yeah. Stu painted a wall.
Yeah, so
so bizarre.
It's the most random dream I've probably ever had. So the dream was, I think I was after being in the shop with you.
Okay.
And we were chatting away and I went home, everything was grand, had a bar of chocolate, yada yada, went to sleep. Next minute I was in the middle of a forest in this big massive like cabin. But I don't mean like a cabin as in like a little cabin, I mean this thing was like 8 stories high, fully furnished, whole 9 yards done.
Wow.
And then I walked in and then you were there and I was like, this is hello Nicole, and you were like hello, and I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, well I'm painting, and I was like, alright, I'll go down and put the oven on and I'll have chicken nuggets, and you were like, oh I want chicken nuggets too. So I was like, Grant, yeah, it's a mad dream, Nicole.
I love the way when you like look back at a dream as well. It's just a random.
Yeah, it's the randomness of everything that happened in this one.
Chicken nuggets anyway.
So then I went down, put the oven on, came back up and I was helping you paint. Next minute, probably about 20 minutes later when the air fryer should be done, I went down and, no, you went down, see I can't even remember half of this now. You went down and then we had the spiral staircase and you stormed up the spiral staircase to me and you came in the door, you slammed the door open, you were like, where's the chicken nuggets? I was like, they're in the air fryer, the oven. And you're like, no they're not. The oven's not on. And I was like, well I put it on and I put chicken nuggets and you're like, well they're not in the oven. And then I was standing beside the bucket of paint and you just picked the bucket of paint up and threw it all over the top of my head. And then you were like, well I guess no one's having chicken nuggets now, are they? And I was like, well I'll go down and put them on. You were like, yeah, okay. And then that was it, like.
I sound like I'm on my time of month and I'm just like outraged.
You sound like you just really want the chicken nuggets.
I do love chicken nuggets. Especially from McDonald's,
but yeah, that was probably.
So you could actually see my face, is what you're trying to say in that dream.
Yeah, I could see you. And like I've had it multiple times where remember you were saying earlier on about being chased. I remember being chased in a dream, but I could actually see the people that was chasing me. Which was terrifying.
That's bizarre, because they often say you'll never see faces in a dream and you'll never be able to read in a dream. You can't read right in a dream. Do you ever think about that? If you're going to tell me you can do that, I swear to God.
I don't think I've had any dreams about that.
You're gonna
I've had dreams about school, where I'm in school.
Oh yeah.
But like,
that's fear.
Yes, it definitely was fear. Sorry, Joanne Fox, definitely wasn't in your business class. But yeah, I've like
Brilliant.
The dreams I've had about school have always been like where I'm running through the school.
Okay.
And like something always like is in my way as I'm running, and I'm always falling over something. Like I'm just really clumsy.
So you fall all the time?
Yeah.
So even like it's not that feeling of falling, it's like you trip over something.
Yeah. Like
that's maybe a way of trying to get your attention, though. I wonder.
That's just saying I'm very clumsy.
You kind of wonder. Well, no, but it could just mean that like there's some whatever it's tripping you over could be trying to get your attention. So maybe you need to look down. But it's so hard to kind of like control your dream. I can't figure that out. So like that's your kind of bizarre.
Yeah, that's like my two most bizarre ones. I'll go into like the other one after I hear maybe one or two of yours.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
There's only one. I don't really remember dreams. I'll remember like kind of like happy dreams. But when we were talking about this, you had mentioned, have you ever had a dream where it's kind of come into reality?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you've just brought back a core memory. Because I had never... I hadn't even told Bill this story. And straight away I was like, oh my God, this dream stuck with me so much for years, and I just completely blanked it for so many years. So
I just brought it up.
I don't know, I must have been maybe 9 or 10, and of course like I went to sleep. I was going to say something there, but I'm not going to say it yet. I'll say it at the end. Moving on. So I'm going to sleep anyway, that's fine. I obviously have this dream, and it starts off with me being in the church.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in the back of the church. It's my local church, and I'm with my mum and dad, and they're beside me. And I look around the church, and the place is fairly full, and there's a young girl sitting on her own on the very back bench, like across from us.
I have a feeling I know where this is going.
It's really weird. Okay, so she's sitting there on her own, and I wait for the end of mass. I approach the girl, and I'm like, oh, like why are you on your own? So she tells me that she has no family, and I'm like, okay. So I go and tell my mom and dad, and they're like, oh, we'll bring her in, like no questions asked. As you know, dreams are bizarre. So all of a sudden this girl is now living with us in my family home. So I bring her down to my bedroom, and the first thing she does is she walks on to like the other side of where I would sleep, where there's a locker, and she places the card face down on the locker, and she goes, don't ever touch this card. And I'm like, okay, so that's fine.
Not creepy at all.
No, just, me just having bizarre horror dreams, as always. So she places the card down, I don't touch it, but I am curious. And as the dream continues on, she is able to go through walls, and things just starting to get really, really weird, okay? But my parents love her, and I'm kind of like, okay, fine. They're not seeing how bizarre this is. So I'm kind of like, I need to prove to them that this girl is not normal. So I decide to go to a library. There's no library near my house, so I don't know how I end up going to the library. I don't know if I magically disappear there, but that's basically what happens in the dream.
Good in a dream, but
I don't drive anyway at 10, so I just land at the library, and I go to like this occult section.
Oh God!
And I pick out this book, and all of a sudden I'm on a page where it's like talking about demonology, and it's saying that if a demon enters your home, it'll place a card on the table and tell you not to touch it. And I was like, what is going on? So the way you need to get rid of the demon is by lighting it on fire. So I'm like,
the demon
okay,
or the card?
The card.
Okay.
So I go home, and I'm sneaking behind the house, and the house is locked, and I see her lying on the trampoline. Like literally everything is the exact same layout as my house now, like, or at the time, should I say. And she's just lying on the trampoline, and I can see the key, and I go run and snap the key, and I can hear her singing this song, and it's like kind of a nasty song about me. Yeah, but she's like using like my name, and it's just really uncomfortable. Like I can't even remember what that was now, to be honest.
Your dream sounds so much better than mine.
But it was just creepy. So I sneak into the house, I grab the card, I light it on fire, and all of a sudden I hear her screaming. So I run outside, and the trampoline is completely in flames, and she just turns her head to the side and goes, I will get you one day, Nicole Duff. and I will kill you.
Oh no! Yep, no.
Okay, so
I
now
have goosebumps.
Okay, so she tells me she's gonna get me and that she wants to kill me in my dreams. Okay, so you can imagine at that age how terrified
You're terrified,
I was.
yeah.
I wake up, I'm sweating, I'm telling my dad this dream, and he's just like, "It's just your imagination. Nothing's here. You're okay." And the next day I was so curious. I said I'd go out to the trampoline, and so I go out to the trampoline, and there's all of these burnt holes all over the base of it. And we ended up getting rid of it. Like, this was literally the day after, and like there was no way of explaining it. So that is the closest thing I've had to kind of a weird reality link. That's it.
That is weird.
But I've never seen that girl ever again. I've never had the same dream like that.
When you were saying about this, I was thinking of your spiritual little Sarah.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's what I thought it was going, and I was like, oh my God.
When I did see Sarah years ago, after that would have been about 3 or 4 years after that experience. I think I would have initially thought, is she good? Because in my head I just kept on thinking that dream left such an impact on me for years.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, I can't sleep now, because I was afraid that I was going to have a nightmare where she'd come and get me. But I never did. That's
really weird.
Yeah. So what's your one?
Okay, so I'll go into the dream I had. So it's mad even thinking back about this one. Okay. So when we were going out on a road trip last year, we were planning on going to Cork, and our plan was to only go to Cork on this, and we were doing paranormal investigations and exploring and all this. So
what else?
Yeah. So when I had this dream, I was like, hey, that's weird. People that I'm going with are in this dream, but why am I dreaming like this place, because we're not even going there? So anyway, we went to Cork, and we started doing a couple of bits. Spent one night in a hospital in Cork, an abandoned hospital by the way, and then a storm came in and Cork was getting flooded, so we were like, right, let's leave Cork and we'll go up towards the east coast, or the west coast, sorry, and we'll explore an asylum up there and we'll spend the night in that one. Okay. So I was like, grand, yeah, let's go. So we ended up going up to this asylum, and when we got there was kids already inside of it, so I was like, right, let's let them leave, don't want kids in here while we're investigating. So anyway, they were starting to leave about 8 o'clock, and I remember I had a little torch and I ran at them with the torch on full blast shouting, it's the guards, you need to get out of here now. So frightened the life out of these kids, they ran off, and they're like, oh, please don't tell me mommy, and I was like, I won't, just get out of here. And anyway, then I remember we walked in, and in the dream I had that happened. And I then remember we found the door and we went in, and the first thing that clicked with me was, it wasn't even the fact that the kids were there, it was the fact that when you went in where the door was, someone had cut the door out, and it was the door was then knocked over, sitting over a hole, but the door had moved, someone had moved the door up and the hole was bigger. And I remember shining my torch down in the dream and going, oh my God, look at the hole, like no one fall through that hole, because that goes straight through to the basement. And when I got there, I says, oh my God, look at the hole, nobody fall in that hole because it goes straight through to the basement. And then I remember, I was like, as I was walking down the corridor, I was like, I've said that already, haven't I? And I turned to one of the lads and I was like, Dan, did I say that twice? And he was like, no, you just said it once. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So then I remember we walked down into the corridor that we were going to camp out in, and I remember setting the tents up. And where we were setting the tents up, there was a door there, and a wall there, a door, and then a wall. And I had my tent, well, I didn't even bring a tent with me that night, because I wasn't going to camp. Dave had his tent here, Dan, the other Dave, and then the others had their tent there. And I remember all the tents were lined up on that wall. But when I was there, we had the tents kind of like one here, kind of like on opposite sides.
Yeah, I get you.
And then I remember just saying, no, we need to move all the tents over to that wall. And I was like, because we'll have room to walk. But I remember doing that exact thing in the dream. And then everything that happened that night, paranormal wise, I dreamt about. And this dream was probably like 2 weeks before I even went there. And I was like, I remember at one point we were sitting in the tent and we heard something get thrown, and I had the little camera and I pulled it over the tent like that. And I remember doing all this in the dream, and I remember I then got out of the tent and I was sitting in a wheelchair, just sitting in the corridor, and I was like, this is weird. I was like, I had this dream before. And it was so weird that my legs started going like that and just twitching. And I was just sitting there the whole night just going like that, my leg would not stop twitching. I don't know what it was. I think it was because I was like, this has happened before, but
there was an uneasy feeling.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking of this now and why I feel like this has happened before. And then we went out for breakfast the next morning, and I remember just being like, oh my god. I was like, this was all in a dream. And it was so weird because I just remember, like, we went to a restaurant the night before to get food. And like, I wouldn't have thought about that because we weren't even going to this place.
Right.
And it was in the dream that I went here and that I got what I had for my dinner. And it was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me with a dream.
It's weird the fact that you had the dream like 2 weeks before you even done this location scout basically and done paranormal investigation and everything, like even all the paranormal stuff that happened was I dreamt about it. Like we heard a scream in the middle of the night and I heard that scream in my dream as well, and it was like everything that had happened at that location had happened in the dream, and it was almost as if like something was telling me 2 weeks before that this is what's going to happen. Almost like deja vu, but creepier. Oh my god. That was my reaction. It was, oh my god, I didn't know what was going on. It was so weird. I think we can all say that we've experienced a form of deja vu.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had like a dream that's like from start to finish
was bang on accurate.
The exact same thing as what you're going to do a few weeks later in real life. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
And it was when I had the dream, I was like, I remember waking up the next morning, I was like, Jesus, that was a funny dream, wasn't it? I was like, that's funny. I was like, that's so random that like, why would I even dream about that? And then it was only when I finished up at that place on the drive home, I was like, all that was in the dream. And I was like kind of putting all the puzzle pieces together, and I was like, well, that happened and this happened, and I was like, the puzzle was getting bigger, and I was like, well, it's all connected, and I was like, how did this happen? Like, what has made me dream of this night and make the whole thing like relay back?
That just makes no sense to me.
And it didn't make any sense to me.
Like, I'm trying to in some way kind of analyse it why that would happen, but I honestly have no answer for that. It's like nearly a pre-warning and say, oh, this is what's going to happen. But it's
almost like be ready.
Expect this to happen.
Yeah.
Be ready, be cautious. Like, don't change anything. So it's kind of like if you change anything differently, like even the whole thing with the tents, like something so simple as that had to be, you're like, oh, they have to be all against the wall.
I don't know what it was that made
maybe if they didn't, like maybe someone would have tripped and fell and someone would have got hurt. Yeah. So like little things like that, like that'd be my thinking behind it. But that's the only potential cause of that. Like that's just so bizarre.
And the weirdest part was the wheelchair that I was sitting in. We actually pulled it from the opposite side of the asylum that we camped in, and like we dragged it the whole way around to where we were camping, and we brought two shoes with us as well that we found in a corridor.
Okay.
And it was almost like a nurse's outfit kind of thing, and we put that above one of the doors.
How creepy is that?
Yeah, like it was. If you had seen yourself, it was absolutely terrifying. If anyone had walked down this corridor, I remember actually seeing a picture 2 days after we done this, and the wheelchair was sitting there with the shoes and the nurse's outfit, and like all of our tents was gone, so it looked mad creepy.
Oh my god.
And I don't know what it was that just made me want them tents all over on that side. It was like in my head I was like, this doesn't feel right. Like something's wrong with what's going on here, And I remember just standing there and I was like looking at everything and I was like, the tents need to be moved. And they were like, why? And I was like, they need to be all on that wall. And I remember I didn't know why I was telling them the tents had to be on that wall. It was so weird.
See, dreams have so many meanings, like that's what I'm saying. Like we were talking about the falling thing. Like another one is like the whole teeth falling out. Like, you know, have you ever had a dream?
I've never had that.
I actually had a dream about that only not long ago, like, you know. And,
I know that we both done
that. I was like, I'm really weird with my teeth, like, you know. But it says here, like, dreaming losing your teeth has multiple meanings. So it means that you're worried about, oh God, I didn't actually read this. You're worried about your attractiveness or appearance. And I'm like, oh, that would actually make sense because, like, your teeth are kind of like such a prime part of your face. So it's like, you know, I used to never smile with my teeth. Yeah, same. It was only when I got older, I was kind of like, I actually kind of prefer my teeth now.
Yeah.
Another thing as well is says that it indicates that you are concerned about your ability to communicate, or that you are concerned that you might have said something embarrassing. Ooh. The real essence of teeth is their ability to bite through, to cut, tear and grind. But if your teeth fall out, you're losing your personal power and your ability to be assertive, decisive and self-protective.
That's so interesting.
But then they say, like, if it's like baby teeth, it means it's like you're losing your teeth, and it means new beginnings are coming because your teeth are going to grow again. And it was like my teeth were like, it was like, they weren't normal teeth. It was they were like fangs. That's what they were like. And I was like, what's going on here? It was like a transitioning thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And I'm there like trying to pull them out because I'm nearly ashamed. But I was watching Vampire Diaries, so I mean that would probably explain why I was dreaming.
That's probably why.
The other one here is dreaming of loved ones that have passed on, and it's a really common one as well. So it's they say like the dead can sometimes like come to you in a dream because they don't want to scare you in real life.
Yeah.
So people that mightn't be able to ground themselves enough to connect to spirit, as in like, oh, there I can see that maybe it's a feather, and they're like, oh, I didn't even notice that. So little things like that, or even just anything that's around us. But it means that it's more lucid and vivid when they come true. Sometimes displaying a message that is not like a typical dream. So it's a way for them to basically connect to you, to offer you something of advice or guidance. And I was like, that's
really
actually quite nice. Then a spider. I always have dreams of spiders because I have the ultimate fear of spiders. Like, I mean, I will scream the house down when I see any spider. I'm awful with them. But it means that it contains both positive and negative elements. So it says here that it is powerful omen relating to potential luck, psychic abilities, and one's creative side. On the flip side, due to ability, it's to trap its victims, and that's what spiders do, because it traps its flies. So it means that it can be people outside of your circle that pose a negative threat and are sending you negative energy. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And then the other one is reoccurring dreams. So like having the same dream over and over again. That has happened to me a few times where I'm like, I wake up and it mightn't be for years that I've had this dream. And then I'm like, that seems so familiar. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I had that dream a few years ago. Whereas in the same place, the same people, and the same thing was happening. And it apparently it's to teach you a lesson. It's like you're going to keep on having the same dream over and over again until you actually awaken yourself to be like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Or there's something more subliminal in the dream where it's like, be aware of this in your real life. Because you're ignoring something that's causing you imbalance, is what it says.
That's really interesting. What about nightmares? Have you... Yeah, nightmares are scary, aren't they?
Like, I think I want to say for like a fine majority of my life, I only ever had nightmares. I very rarely have the positive dream, and I'd say now in the last couple of years I have more positive dreams. I'd have the odd nightmare where I'm like, it's not even like a scary dream, but it's more kind of like the worst case scenario. And you're like, no, I don't want that to happen, and you're actually upset. Like, I wake up crying sometimes. But when I was a kid, growing up to maybe when I was in my late teens, nightmares were a huge thing for me.
Yeah, I remember I used to always have nightmares. Like, I'd be the same. I'd nearly all my dreams when I was younger were nightmares. And now, like, it's not even... I don't really get nightmares anymore, or even, like, as you were saying, like, worst case scenario dreams. I've never really had them. Like, of all the dreams I've had, I don't think I've had any kind of scary ones lately. Like, a lot of them are just weird and random. People can probably tell already that my dreams are just mad random. Just chicken nuggets and paint and abandoned asylums. But yeah, nightmares was one that I was always like, what is, like, how is it that you can have a really nice dream one minute and then like the next night you're like absolutely terrified in your bedroom? I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing for me was like I could never sleep without a light on because I was so afraid of what I'd see in the dark. And then I think that kind of led me to like nearly manifest a dream that was going to be me in the dark. Little things like that. Like, and it just goes to show like your thoughts have such a strong power over your mind, like or well over your dreams and how you sleep. So like it's like anything, like the other way they say, oh, never go driving when you're angry. So maybe you should go sleep angry either, because they even say the same thing with like, you know, when you're with somebody as well, like in a relationship, they always say never go to bed angry with that person, like you know. And I suppose it's kind of like you don't know what could happen tomorrow. So with the dreams, kind of like somewhat similar. It's like if you go to bed angry, you're probably gonna have a dream about you actually going crazy in a dream, like where you're like breaking shit and stuff. Then you mightn't do that. I don't know, but that's an example. Like, do you know, like a rage house? Do you know?
Sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just thinking back. I was listening to another podcast and he was on about
Listen to another podcast, guys. How awful.
I know, I'm so sorry, but yeah, I just thought about something he was on about, and it was almost like that.
About, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. But
not about dreams, but it was like he was on about that. It's completely off topic to this, but it's in my head now. So he was on about he was staying in this apartment over in London,
right?
And his friend was like, "Look, my girlfriend's coming over. Lock your bedroom door tonight."
Oh.
And he was like, "Why does she go around robbing things?" And he was like, no, she has these mad night terrors where she goes around and just wrecks the gaff altogether. So then he was like, right, so I locked the door. So we locked the door, and then he got up the next morning. The whole house was destroyed. She going through and smashing up all the furniture.
Oh my god!
And it was like she like sleepwalks, but she's like violent sleepwalking.
And that's another thing, like sleepwalking. Like a lot of people suffer with that.
Yeah.
I have only ever experienced that once in my life, and like some people are really bad for it. Like, and I just think that's.
I've never done it.
Insane. Like imagine just being fast asleep in your bed and you wake up and you're like, where?
Down in the kitchen.
I don't know where you are. Some people try to leave their houses. Like,
yeah.
That's
terrifying.
terrifying.
I've never done it, but I think if I did do it, I'd probably never sleep again in my life, because that'd be absolutely terrifying. Just to know that you were asleep and you were just walking somewhere. Like, as you were saying, if someone left their house, like imagine they left their house and walked out onto a road or something, like
get crossed by a car or something like that.
Because you're not conscious to what's going on, you don't know. So it's,
and like they say, you should never really wake somebody.
Yeah, it can be really dangerous.
Yeah, they can have a heart attack or something like that. They just get a shock. So you bring them back to bed. You just have to kind of lure them back. Be like, let's go this way. And I'm like, oh my god, like I never really experienced. And I was really young that one time, and I think I went from my bedroom to the kitchen, and my parents were right there, and I woke up and I was like, why am I here? Why is this happening? And like Dad just brought me back to bed, but like I've never experienced sleepwalking in any other way. Like it's just.
Or talking, have you done that? Talking in your
sleep?
Oh,
I'm desperate for that.
Are you?
Oh, it's bad. Like I mean, I do that quite a lot, but I don't think anyone's as good as that as my mom. Like my mom just like I remember one time she had a full blown argument with someone in her sleep, and I just thought, well, this, and I thought she was giving out to me because I could hear her shouting, and because she was having a nap during the day, and I went down and there she was giving out in her sleep, and I just thought, well, this is comical. Like, have you?
I've never done that. No, I don't sleep talk, but I do know that like I vaguely remember. I'd say I was probably in like a really light stage of sleep, but I remember talking.
Okay.
But I just remember I was talking and then I woke up, and like. Okay. I don't know if...
It's like you're talking woke you up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was almost as if like I could hear myself talking, and I was kind of like, oh, someone's in the room, and I woke up and there was no one there.
It was just you.
Yeah. So like I probably have been talking.
No, it's really common to do, like to talk in your sleep.
I probably just ramble.
Well, what don't we do, basically, what things to do. But what's your opinion on dreams and how they link to our reality or even like another universe? Like what do you make of everything that we're talking about today?
I love dreams, for starters.
Okay.
I hate to be not dreaming, but I do think dreams have a connection to what we're seeing, or like that they can nearly tell us something that's going to happen in our life. That's where my take is with it. I do believe that it can be like different dimensions. That is something that I remember looking into before about like, is it coming from a different dimension? Almost like what you were on about at the beginning.
Yeah.
I just remember like that was always a question that I had, was like, because I do remember another name. See, I'm rambling back to my dream, but I do remember having a dream about UFOs and stuff one time.
Okay.
And that was like, it was such a weird dream, but I do think it was then like almost telling me something, because I then went and like researched into UFOs and aliens and stuff.
So it was like you had to open your mind to what could be out there.
It was almost like the dream was telling me, you're ready. Here's a load of UFOs and aliens. Now go and do your research.
It's kind of like a feed.
Yeah.
The information.
It was like my antenna was going to theirs, and they're like, no.
Look us up. Yeah. We're real.
We're coming over Baileyburg tonight. What's your take?
Yeah, like I mean, I can't say I dream enough to say I like dreaming, but I suppose when I have a good dream, there's nothing better, because I think when you have a good dream, especially when you're just about to, you wake up and you're getting ready for work or whatever, and you're like, God, that was nice. Like it gives you a really nice dream. It gives you like good vibes, and you kind of
set your morning up, and you're like,
yeah, I think so. But then I'm also like, I actually do like nights where you just don't have any dreams at all, because it's kind of like that peaceful sleep, and you wake up and you're like, I feel great. But what was it? I do think in every way, from what I was reading earlier on, from like the link between the multiverse and us here in our reality, it's highly likely. It's touched base in quite a lot of things, so I feel like people are trying to like get us to open ourselves up to the chances of this being a possibility. I don't know. I just think it's so cool, but then at the same time, I'm also kind of creeped out because I'm like, what am I doing in a different universe? Like, you know, because
that's kind of that. I think that's where it's like the weird part is like, what was that?
Awesome.
That was like a train going past.
Yeah, wow, okay.
That was see, we're in the dream, Nicole. This is not the dream.
We are. So weird.
That was weird. I can't even remember what I was saying.
You were talking about, we were saying like how it can be linked and like that can be frightening because we don't know what we're doing in another universe. Like.
So like, what are we actually doing in another universe? Like, why, if it is something to do with another universe, how is it that we're seeing this alternative universe and like dimension almost, and like what is causing that to be sent to us? Like, is there a reason why we're having this dream on this night?
Yeah, I don't know, it's so weird. And then you also think of like Barry Allen, the Flash, and like he has the ability to like run fast enough to change reality, to go back in time, or then he opens up a portal that brings him to all the different universes and he can jump in, and like there can be slight changes. So, you know, like it could be a different face to a different name, but that person still exists, but they're doing something else.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, that's so bizarre. Like, you know,
so
like it's so possible in every way, but then like you're also thinking like what's out there could be just different planets, different life forms, and I suppose we could be linked to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
but then we could not be linked, and it could just be like, see, because there's no like scientific reason as to like why we dream. It's just this like complex thing that your brain is doing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's your brain being complex and just being like, haha, you can't figure this out.
Yeah, that could be it. Like, I mean, we only have access to so much of our brain at the end of the day. And like they do say, if we had full access to our brain, like, I mean, oh my god, it's actually meant to be dangerous. Yeah, it's like completely unstoppable. Like you become a molecule. I always think of that film with I know I always reference films. It's just a little nerd to me. Sugar. I can't think of the name of it. Scarlett Johansson's in it. No? Okay, I thought that would have triggered your memory, but it didn't trigger mine. It's like maybe Corey can help me with this. So she basically gets access to her, like 100% of her brain, and I'm like, and it's frightening, like what happens.
Well, I'm just trying to find this movie.
She's everywhere. That's basically what happens when she's access to it, and I'm kind of like, like,
I want that.
Is that what's happening here? Like, are we just like here on Earth as a small percentage, using small percentage of our brain? And the more awakened we are, the more percentage of our brain has been used. But then we'll never fully have access to the 100%, because if we were, it'll only be when we pass away, maybe, kind of sort of thing. And then we're everywhere. And I'm like, oh my god.
Scary.
I know, it's a lot. But like, that's kind of my take on dreams.
I think that's like a really cool way to end it as well.
Yeah, so like that's, I suppose, it for this week's episode. As always, you can expect a new episode next Friday.
We can.
But we are entering October.
Spooky season.
Which means you can expect an exciting, creepy month ahead for the time that's in it to celebrate Halloween.
This is going to be so much fun.
Oh my gosh. We have so much planned for this month. It's going to be so much more interesting as well, I think, with regards of what we're interested in, especially. But until then, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And to end on a spiritual note, we decided that we do an affirmation for your day, as we did last week. So, in your own time, just if you wish to sit still, relax your arms. Maybe you're lying flat, maybe you're sitting down. And just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And in your own time, repeat after me. I am destined for great things, and I am living my life's purpose. I am destined for great things, and I am living my life's purpose. I am destined for great things, and I am living my life's purpose. And in your own time, you can open up your eyes. If you wish to continue doing affirmations after this, please do. Don't forget to do your gratitudes. Until next week, thank you. Have a beautiful day. And see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.